Hi everyone! In this tutorial we are going to talk about data type conversions. Before we start talking about data type conversions, we need to know that C# is statically typed at runtime, which means that after we declare the variable, we cannot redeclare it and we cannot assign different data type to that variable unless those data types are implicitly convertible. But we'll talk about that more in a moment. We have two different types of conversions, implicit and explicit conversion. So let's declare the integer variable called example and assign some value to it. Also, we need to know the size of integer data type. We can quickly check that by calling the size of and passing the integer. Just to check what is the size for that data type. If you're not sure, you can quickly check it like this. And we now know that the size of the integer is 4. And also let's declare the long. Let's quickly check the size of the long because we don't know it. The size. If I check it, it will say 8 bytes. So integer is 4 bytes and we have long of 8 bytes. If I try to do something like this, long example2 is equal to example. You can see that compiler is not complaining about this, and you can see that we are trying to assign integer value to long value. Integer value to long, and we need to know that size of this integer is 4 bytes, as we checked previously, and size of the long is 8 bytes. So what does that mean? That means that we can assign this variable to long variable without any data loss because we can fit 4 bytes into 8 bytes. So there won't be any data loss and there is no special kind of syntax for implicit conversion. Compiler will know how to store this integer into long variable. So this is example of implicit conversion. Let's try something else. Let's try to declare double. Double is 8 bytes. Double example. Let's say 5.25. And if we try to assign that to integer example, we can see that compiler is complaining. And it says that it cannot implicitly convert type double into integer because this is 8 bytes and we have integer of 4 bytes. 8 bytes has much higher precision than we have with integer, and double is also used for storing the numbers with decimal point, and we cannot store number with decimal point into integer. So that's why we have compiler complaining. So let's assume that we really want to do that for whatever reason. We can use casting or explicit conversion. By this way, we can store integer number, cast double into integer, and store that into this variable. So, but there is one downside about doing something like this. As I mentioned, integer is not capable of storing the decimal points, which means that we'll lose this data. If we are okay with that, that should be all that we need to do regarding the explicit conversion. If I print integer example, we'll be able to see that we have 5 as a result of this conversion, which is called explicit conversion. If I run it, you can see that we have 5 as a result. Also, there are types that cannot be converted. Let's say that we have string text, which is equal to text. And if I try to assign that to, let's say, double, another example, If I try to assign that text, we'll get error, which says that cannot implicitly convert string to double. If I try to do something like this, we'll still get error because those two types are not convertible. We got the similar error. So that will be pretty much about conversions of different data types. As you can see, we have implicit conversion. There won't be any data loss, and we are able to store smaller data into larger data type. Also, there is something called explicit conversion. And in the end, there are types which cannot be converted. And that will be pretty much it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.